Gentlemen, welcome to Week 4. Our Week 3 payout for most quarterback points went to the embattled Justin Ringler with Joe Flacco's 30.5 points. Week 3 was very disappointing for most, as we had 4 teams score 90 points or less. Justin was also our Week 3 high scorer at 151, destroying friendly neighbor Burt by a total of 60 points. The Roman Helmets, who was Andy Nelson's lock of the week to win, defeated Team Bullshit by 60 points as well. Varmint Poontang beat Deacon Booze by 30. Blake beat Wet Spots by 35. Love Boat beat the Neckbeards by 30 to stay undefeated. Top Shelf came back to earth after scoring 188 last week, only scored 104 points this week to defeat Thickburger by 15. Our matchup of the week included Meat Wagon Driver and Panty Hamsters, both 2-0 and both tied for first place in the division. Meat Wagon Driver, losing CJ Spiller this week, still prevailed to beat Panty Hamsters by 15. Usually considered an oversight by most, kickers and defenses have been swinging a lot of games this year. We had 2 trades this week. Log Drammond traded Larry Fitzgerald to Varmint Poontang for Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson only had 2 catches for 19 yards, while Fitzgerald went off for 9 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown. The Roman Helmets trade Jerome Simpson to the Panty Hamsters for Nate Washington. Washington had 3 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown, while Jerome Simpson was inactive as he was completing his suspension for violating the league's substance abuse policy. Our Week 4 payout is most points. This only includes players that are in your starting lineup. Our standings are as followed. The Love Boat is 3-0, while also 3-0 against his divisional opponents. This is a huge lead after only 3 weeks into the season. The Roman Helmets are 2-1 and also 2-1 against the division, while Sexual Napalm and Top Shelf are both 2-1, but both just 1-1 against the division, while the Neckbeards and Team Bullshit are 1-2 and both 1-2 against the division, and Team Thickburger is 0-3, but with just 2 division losses. The Gold Division. Meat Wagon 3-0, while 3-0 against his division as well. Tebow, my fleener, is 3-0, but just 2-0 against his division. The Panty Hamsters are 2-1, but 2-1 against the division, while Logjam is 1-2, but just 1-1 against his division. And Varmint Poontang is 1-2, but 1-2 against his division. And Wet Spots 0-3, but just 0-2 against his division. And the big loser so far is Deacon Booze, 0-3, but 0-3 against his division. Deacon is 4 games behind Meat Wagon Driver, as Meat Wagon holds the head-to-head tiebreaker. Our Week 4 matchups as this week's are as follows, and bye weeks start this week. Sexual Napalm versus the Roman Helmets. Both teams are 2-1 and were the top scoring teams last week. This is also the Roman Helmets' first neighborhood battle this year in the Clay Estates rivalry. Tebow My Fleener versus the Panty Hamsters, a father-son battle that has waged for over 20 years. Tebow is still 3-0, while the Hamsters need to win to avoid dropping 500, even though the Hamsters are our top scoring team of the year after just 3 weeks. Thickburger versus Neckbeards. Thick is looking for his first win of the season, while the Neckbeards have dropped 2 straight after starting off the year as our top scoring team. Deacon Booze versus Logjammin'. Both teams have highly drafted, highly underperforming quarterbacks. Deacon is 0-3, while Logjammin' is 1-2, but currently in 4th place in their division. Wet Spots versus Varmint Poontang. Only 1 win between these 2 teams. Wet Spots is currently trying to move top pick Jimmy Graham, while Poontang has made several trades to try to improve his 1-win squad. Top Shelf versus Team Bullshit. Top Shelf season has been a total roller coaster so far, up and down, up and down. Last week his team barely cracked 100. While Team Bullshit is still trying to recover from Matt Forte's loss, and an even bigger hole now, with Kevin Smith scoring 0 points last week and only on the field for 6 plays. Love Boat versus Meat Wagon Driver. A perfect matchup this week. Both teams are 3-0 and in first place in their respective divisions. Meatwagon has never scored less than 127 points, while Love Boat has only broken 114 once. And now, it's time for What's Buggin' Andy, brought to you by Budweiser.
Hey, League. This is What's Bugging Andy, the chat room. Chat room's there so you can talk shit, stir up trades, and get stuff moving along. I'm kind of frustrated with it because I'm sitting there trying to watch the Vikings have a fabulous win over the 49ers, and all I hear is ding, 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 ding every time one of you fuckers says something. And usually the only fuckers that say something is Blake complaining about how shitty his team is, or Blake, RG3, complaining or talking how wonderful his team is, RG3, or Carl saying how shitty his players are playing, RG3, or Carl talking about how awesome his team is, RG3. And then you get these trade wins. Everyone's a big talker in the chat room. Oh, I'll trade Drew Brees this. Ooh, I'll trade Aaron Rodgers that. Ooh, I'll trade Matt Forte this. None of you guys have any balls because I haven't seen any trades happen from there. You fall in love with the roster that you draft, and you're afraid to move them. Your drafted team is not like a wife. You can divorce them. You can get rid of them. You don't have to pay child support. You don't have to pay alimony. Dump the players, move them. If you don't like someone, Chris Johnson, get the fucker off your roster. Bring in someone new. You don't have to pay. You don't owe him anything.
How's Chris Johnson doing on your team?
He got me twice as many rushing yards in one game than he got you in 2 weeks. So that's what's bugging me. Live up to what you say in the chat room.
Andy, who's your biggest fantasy overachiever this week?
Fantasy overachiever this week was Ramses Barton. 9 catches for 143 yards or something like that. Blows up for 23 points. Fantastic game. Great spot start. The only reason he got any action was because Hakeem Nicks didn't play. If you follow my biggest overachiever and you jump on him and pick him up and he's going to do wonders for you, remember I picked Stephen Hill week 1, blew up 20 points, got 0 points next week. Then I picked Brian Hartline, blew up, got 23 points, next week 5. Ramsey Barton, 23 points, next week probably much of the same.
Who's your biggest underachiever?
Underachiever this week, you touched on him earlier, Kyle, Kevin Smith. He only got onto the field 6 times. I think Blake beat off to his roster 6 times today.
And Andy, you're 1-1 so far. Who's your fantasy lock of the week to win this week?
Fantasy lock of the week, I'm going big. I'm going with the leader of the Maroon division and the leader of the Gold division. Yeah, I didn't fuck that up. Maroon and Gold. Go Gophers. 3-0 Meat Wagon Driver versus 3-0 Purple Love Boat. I'm going with the Meat Wagon Drivers. Unless Purple Love Boat's Calvin Johnson lives up to his 51-point prediction that CBS has him set at. Right on there, guys.
You predicted Brent to lose earlier in the year and he won.
He did, but he can't do it twice.
Our Thursday night game is Ravens and Browns. Get in the chat room on Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night.